Okay, I'm Jenn. I'm the founder of Beyond the States, and this is our student panel presentation. So today we have Liza joining us. She's from Connecticut, and she goes to Anglo American University in Prague. She's in her second year studying humanities, society, and culture. Alex is from Illinois. He's at Kozminski University studying management. We have Lexi from the OC in California, and she's at Erasmus University College studying general life science with a minor in biomedical research. So the first thing I'm hoping you guys can speak to is why you decided to look at and eventually attend college in Europe over universities in the US.
Well, I just really wanted to travel. I had always lived in the same small town my entire life, like population of 4,000. It's tiny. And I had loved traveling. I did a little bit, but I had never really been away from home for more than like 2 or 3 weeks before. But eventually I was just like, I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to live internationally. And the closest I had come to that was touring a school where I could study abroad almost any semester that I wanted. But I wanted to stay somewhere longer than just 4 months. And like, I'm so glad that I decided that, because 4 months is not long enough to explore a country and really get to know a city. But also like the money aspect, like saving so much money just going to school here instead of back in the States. And it's overall just a great experience to have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for me as well, it was really about the money issues, that it's just a lot cheaper to go to school out here. And then I didn't realize what I was getting myself into until I got out here. But I realized that it's amazing and it's fantastic and the people are amazing, and it's just no regrets coming out here.
Yeah, I'm the same. I came out here because, so I'm not like $40,000 in debt my first year alone. And my mom actually married someone out here in the Netherlands as well, so that also was a factor in helping me move out here.
It sounds like all of you, tuition was a draw, and then it became almost a secondary benefit, with all these other things. So it sounds like none of you feel like you are missing out on the sort of traditional American student life experience. But what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about what your student life experience is like. I talk a lot about the differences with families being that, there aren't these, AAU does not have a dorm. Now, Lexi goes to a university college, so she did have housing with the other students for the first year, with the other students in her program. But if you could talk a little bit about your student life, your housing situation, what you do without a meal plan. I can't tell you how many parents say, well, how will they eat without a meal plan? I assume you're all eating, So if you could just speak to that a little bit.
Well, the first year we had a living situation, but it's not anything like the dorms back in the US. Like when I went and visited my sister in her dorms in a university in California, nothing like the place I stayed at. It's more like a hotel that had its own kitchen. And then even then, like for me at least, like produce here is a lot cheaper than in the US. Nice. So it's like I can get things way cheaper, and it's super easy to make, and yeah.
So you had like a studio apartment type thing with
Yeah, and then afterwards, now I just live with my mom in a city over from where my university is, and it's great.
I think about my own dorm when I was in college, and, I had a roommate, which I'd never had in my entire life. I didn't share a room with anybody. So here I was at college with a roommate and like a bathroom that I shared with like 40 other people. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's similar like that out here, where most students tend to live in like, I wouldn't really call it an apartment, but it's like an apartment with say 8 to 10 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. And then they share the kitchen with everybody and they share the bathroom with everybody. Me personally, I'm fortunate enough that my brother already lives here and goes to school. So I just moved in with him.
Nice. So, but even with the other situation you described, it's sort of like privacy without isolation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is nice. How about you, Liza?
My first semester, I lived in dorm style housing that wasn't affiliated with AAU. But I lived in, I really didn't like it. I couldn't imagine living in a dorm in the States because I've like visited my friends from home at college and it's so cramped. But the room that I was in was small and we shared a kitchen with the entire building. And I didn't particularly love it. It was nice like living with kids from like schools and other schools in the area. So I got to meet a lot of people. But by my second semester, I got an apartment with my friends. So it's a 3-bedroom apartment with a living room and a kitchen and bathroom and like a mudroom area. And I paid just a little bit more, but I get like a whole lot out of it. Like the room that I'm in right now, this is my bedroom, and my dorm was probably like maybe a third of it, and that's it. Like I didn't like there was no other area. In here I have like this huge bedroom and I have a living room and a kitchen, and it's so nice. Like, and plus I get to live with my friends, and I feel so adult living here, like actually having an apartment. It was a little difficult because it wasn't furnished. So like you can see my mattress is just on the floor right there, but it's fine. I don't mind at all. But yeah, the housing, I'm so glad that I get to do this and not have to live in a dorm, like a small dorm with like 2 or 3 other people. Like I get like a nice bathroom and a nice kitchen, and I just cook for myself every night. Like I make a lot of pasta. I'm vegetarian, so I don't have to worry about cooking meat or anything. But the food is like really easy. There's a grocery store walking distance down the street. So I just go and I get myself whatever ingredients I need, and cooking. Like, I feel like it's just a good thing to know how to do, because eventually you're going to have to learn how to cook for yourself. So like, I just kind of taught myself how to cook, and I love it. I don't have to worry about eating cafeteria food 3 meals a day. So it's really nice.
We're looking at this huge space behind you. That's beautiful. Do you mind me asking how much you pay a month?
So right now I pay about $570 a month, which is more than I want to be paying, honestly, because I know I can get somewhere. Our lease is ending in December, so I'm moving into a smaller room with some other friends.
I do get a lot of questions about what does your social life look like? And you all have a good frame of reference too. It sounds like you have friends and family who are at schools in the U.S. So if you could kind of speak to that difference that you see in social life between Europe and American schools.
In the U.S., like, I'm at a really small school. Like, it's just one building. Like, and we still have fraternities for like the city. Like, people can still join fraternities and sororities. They're not the same at all, but there's still like clubs that you can join all over the city, and it's such a small school, but there's people from all around the world. So it's like I have friends from India to Zambia to like back to Venezuela. It's like they're from everywhere, and it's so interesting to just meet people, and it's such a small community. Everyone knows each other, and it's so fun to hang out with everyone, and we all go and hang out regularly outside of school and hit like clubs or just hang out at home.
Well, I can't really speak for me going to school in the States because I finished high school and came out here immediately. Mm-hmm. But out here, the school kind of is very, they really push you to be social. And, so they have we have the atrium at our university. So you can go down there and get coffee, and everybody's just down there. And also, my university, also like other universities, has ESN, and I'm a part of ESN, and it allows you to meet exchange students coming into the university for the semester for 2 semesters, and it's just an incredible way to meet new people. And every semester we get 200 people coming in, and it's just fantastic.
Liza, how about you?
Yeah, I'm the same way with friends from all over the place. It's crazy. I've never known people from so many different places. But yeah, my school does the same thing where they really push us to be social. We have a cafe, and it's a small building, small school, but we have like a cafe downstairs, and we have the school will throw parties for us. Sometimes they'll have beer pong tournaments, which is kind of fraternity-like, I guess. They will also do like semester end and semester beginning parties and midterm parties. They throw a few parties in the cafe a couple times a semester. And then just on the weekends, we go out to the clubs, and we, during the day, sometimes we'll go to a beer garden. I just got back from one of the beer gardens down the street from me. We all just went out and had a picnic. It was really nice. We just get to hang out, and obviously, like, we're all legal to drink here, which is definitely different. But, I think it makes you feel a little bit more responsible. I know a lot of like parents are concerned about their kids being legal to drink so much younger. But I think it's a very different drinking culture here than it is in America. It's not so much the, shotgunning a beer and binge drinking that fraternities are like. It's a lot more, you go out and you're dancing with your friends and you have a drink at the same time. And like, it's just not the same binge drinking culture, but that doesn't mean it's not as much fun. Like, you still get to go out, you still get to party, you still get to have a lot of fun, but it's a different environment, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. If anything, it's a good thing. It's just as much fun as it is in the US.
You call your friends, to meet up at a bar, have a drink, just talk, socialize, and then usually the night kind of goes on and maybe you'll end up at a club or something like this.
Yeah. It's not just like going out for the sole purpose of drinking. You're going out to be social. And I mean, you drink socially. It's not doing something that you could get in trouble for, and it's like dangerous and risky. It's like you're going out to be social and have fun with your friends.
So it sounds like none of you, the other concern I get from parents a lot is, how will my son or daughter make friends? And it sounds like that has not been an issue for any of you.
I mean, I feel like everybody for the most part, people who are willing to go to school in another country are pretty outgoing and are, ready to kind of embrace the situation. And you kind of have to be. And I mean, I made a lot of my friends at orientation, and I'm still friends with the people that I met at orientation. And along the way, I've met a ton of new people. Every semester, there are new people here, and I'm always meeting people in class or just in the cafe. Like, you kind of have to be ready to just sort of throw yourself into that situation, because we're all in that situation. It's not like you're jumping into a friend group. It's like everybody shows up with the same amount of exposure to each other. Like, you're not missing out on anything. So everybody's kind of in it together in that struggle to make friends at the same time. And, you end up falling into a friend group, which it works out just fine. Like, I didn't feel like I missed anything by not joining a sorority and kind of buying my way into friends, or like having to join, like, we could join clubs, but I didn't join any, and I'm perfectly fine friend-wise. I'm not missing out on any of that in any way.
So let's jump into academic life.
Well, I feel like the professors they usually will help you so long as you ask. Mm-hmm. But if you're not asking for the help and you're not putting yourself forward to get this help, well, then the professors, they won't care. Just another student. If you fail, you fail. It's not their problem. But if you do ask for the help, then they'll be more than happy to help you. And I haven't really had any issues.
So their investment is comparable to yours.
Yeah. And, also like students, in my experience, we put together study groups where we like reserve a classroom in the university, and we all meet up to, study for this one exam or something like this. And that's also very helpful. And everybody's, we all work together as a team, not so much as like competition between students.
Do you find in your classes, is there a lot of group work? Is there a lot of discussion? What's sort of the norm for you?
Yeah, definitely. The teachers also push a lot of group work on us, and I really like it. And like, they make sure that we integrate with all the people within the class. So we're not just, working with our friend in the class.
Liza, what's your academic life like?
Well, for us, each class only meets once a week for 2 hours and 45 minutes with like a 15-minute break in the middle. And that sounds like a really long time, but I actually prefer it. It's nice because if you get distracted for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're not missing a whole class. You're missing just a small bit of it. And it's more relaxed. The pace is more relaxed, but we still get, what's a week worth of learning into that amount of time. But what we don't get in that time, we have to make up kind of on our own time outside of class. So I have like a good amount of work that I do outside of class, a lot of reading, essays, but it's not like I have little homework assignments here and there. Like any assignments I have are usually, like I usually have to read for every class every week, and then I have essays due and exams. But I feel like AAU does a good job balancing workload. Of course, like exam time is crazy, but outside of class, I still have time to go out on the weekends and I get time to relax, but I work a good amount outside of class, which is, I mean, what I expected, and it seems like college to me.
How about you, Lexi?
Our academic workload is it's a lot for some people because we get 3 courses each quarter, and then we are supposed to finish them by the end of each quarter. And it's definitely not for everyone, but I like it because we use a system called problem-based learning, and it's where we're given a problem and we're supposed to figure it out by discussing it among ourselves based on our previous knowledge. And it helps me learn a lot because you get to discuss it among people, and then your homework is trying to figure out the answer to that problem. And all the teachers and lecturers or heads of departments are really involved with all their students. So if we have a question about anything, we can go up to them and they'll help us. And it's super hands-on and super friendly community. Yeah.
That's really cool. And so this actually brings us nicely to a segue about unique opportunities you guys have at your schools. And Lexi, you mentioned that you're doing an internship with, why don't you tell me a little bit about that, because I'll mangle it.
In my minor right now, I'm doing a minor in biomedical research. We get an opportunity to do an internship in whatever department of Erasmus Medical hospital there, where they have a research center, and we get to choose where we want to be. And I chose stem cells, so I'm going to be week after next. I'm going to be working in the Stem Cell Institute there. Yeah.
And your thesis is related to, are you in your third year or second?
Yeah, third year. But it's only 3 years here. It's not 4.
Right.
So it's my thesis is working with stem cells. It's pretty complicated. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible to me how much you get done in 3 years. You know, I mean that you're studying stem cells and are going to have this hands-on experience, and
yeah,
it's really incredible.
From our first year, we're taught like how to write a research paper, how should we formulate like proposals, like how can we research. It's just we're taught from the very beginning, like how are we going to be good scientists good critical scientists in our world.
What's cool is that one thing that drives me crazy, even as an adult, is busy work, or you know, sort of. And it seems like they've taken a lot of that busy work out. That is, you know, like, okay, we're going to hit the ground running, but it's going to be meaningful. It's going to be meaningful learning that you're going to need to learn, and that you're going to use. And that's I think a huge difference.
You choose like where you want to be academically pretty quick. Like you only spend the first year doing many different topics, and then we just head straight into the topic that we want to be. And it's each class is hitting the ground running. It's it's pretty intense, but I like it.
Liza, you were telling me about an opportunity you're taking. Can you tell us about what you're going to be doing in the spring?
Yeah, so next semester I'm going to be studying abroad in Malaysia, which I'm super excited about because I've never been to Asia. So yeah, my school has study abroad opportunities. We have Erasmus, which we're a part of, which is all over Europe. And then we also have partnerships with other universities around the world. So I'm going to Malaysia. The only thing about that is the AAU can only send 1 or 2 kids to all those universities, but it's a pretty small school. And I don't know if anybody else applied other than me. So I just found out about that like last week. I'm really excited to do that. Like I said, never been to Asia. I'm really excited to travel that part of the world. The semester doesn't start for them until April 1st, which is a little backwards because they kind of go on a Southern Hemisphere school year. So I won't be getting out of school until July 27th and then jumping right back into school again like September 1st. So I have a really short summer this year, but yeah, I'm really excited to get to do that. And like we're a 3-year school too, so that'll be my 4th semester that I'm doing that, and then I only have 1 more year until I graduate. And I know in that time we have to do an internship too, so I get that opportunity to do some sort of internship in some way. And I want to work in human rights, so hopefully I'll be able to do something else international during that time when I do an internship and I get to work somehow in human rights.
Alex, how about you? Any unique opportunities that you'll be or that you did take advantage of?
Well, I certainly took advantage of ESN, but our school also offers to do your internship within the university, and it's within like the different departments, marketing or something like that. We also have a lot of like conferences where people come from different companies such as like Goldman Sachs and like Citibank and that kind of thing, and they talk about what they do and that sort of thing.
I'm going to be super excited actually to touch base with you all in a couple of years and see what you're doing with yourselves. I think it's really exciting. And what I'd like to do to close is if we could go through each of you and tell me about the best thing about being an international student. I mean, anything. And also if there's any advice you would give to students or families who are thinking about doing this.
For me, I think the best thing is the connections that you build. And it's just incredible to make friends with other international students, so you have a wider variety of friends and connections, just from like different countries. Like I have friends from someone probably from every single country in Europe, and it's amazing.
I think probably the best thing about it is the things that I've learned outside the classroom, from having friends all over the world and just getting to live in another country. I think I've gained a lot of skills with international living, and I feel like I've learned so much just about life in general and life around the world. I know a lot more about cultures everywhere. I just learned a lot from the experience in general, getting to travel to other countries. I know a lot of things that I feel like I go home and I have to explain to my friends. And I know they get annoyed with that. I know I bring up things and they're just like, okay, we get it. You live in Europe. But like I feel like I've just gained so much from just the experience of living here that I could not have had any access to at all if I had stayed in the US. Like if I'm working internationally in the future, I don't have to go through that learning curve of living in another country or like learning things about other countries because I already have friends there, or I already know like how to apply for a visa and how to, get through a grocery store in another country or public transportation, just little things. I'm just so much more confident with myself now and so much more confident in a foreign environment where when I first got here, I was like, okay, in Europe, like I knew how to like deal with that, but it wasn't like I am now. Like I know all these little tricks of living in a foreign country that I never could have ever learned if I had stayed in the US. It's just I feel like I'm just a step ahead, and like totally. That now that the whole world is kind of accessible to me. Like before it was like, it just seemed like such a big deal to go to Europe. And now I feel like now that I've been here for a while, I feel like I can go anywhere. Like I'm going to Malaysia next semester. Like I feel like it's just like the world is just so much more in my reach now, which is awesome. And I'm so glad that I got to gain that from.
I love that quote. I might have to make a t-shirt with the quote. That the world is so much more accessible.
I think the best part about living here is just the experience. Like you could literally do anything from like going to the Amsterdam Gay Pride Parade to like taking a 60-euro plane ride to like whatever country is around. Like and like all the people that you get to meet, like it's just such a different experience. Like I always thought I would stay in California. Definitely went outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. So it's like, it's such a different experience. I think it's great because like it's literally like a whole new adventure.
So, what I think is really interesting as I listened to each of you talk is you each spoke about the value of the experience, this international experience, and the value of having international friendships and the connections you have with people of all different types. And I really think that that's what you would have trouble finding. I have a neighbor who I ran into. I actually was going to blog about this, but I think she might read the blogs, and so I didn't write a blog about this. But I have a neighbor who, I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and her son went to UNC, goes to UNC Chapel Hill, 5 minutes down the road. And he was placed with an international student in the dorms. And I thought, what great, great. There are only 500 international students at UNC Chapel Hill out of 18,000. 500 under. So I thought, how great, that he has this exposure, something that he wouldn't normally have. He's asking to change roommates. And I thought, like, oh, so I mean, that just made me crazy. I can't even tell you, like, that's polite. But, and you guys are not surrounded by people who would not value an international exposure. I mean, you're surrounded by like-minded people. You all have different backgrounds and different perspectives, but it sounds like you have these similar values that really do, not to mention a really meaningful experience. You're all living outside of your home country. So those connections sound just so incredibly meaningful. Like I said, my son will be going next year. He's to Leiden University, the international studies program there. And talking to you guys makes me even more excited for the experience that he'll have and the opportunities he'll have. So I really appreciate you guys being here today and talking about this and letting other people get a little glimpse of your life. Thank you so much.
No problem.